Hello everyone, I am Jayesh Vaishnav and today I will be talking about decision trees. Yes. Decision trees belongs to the family of supervised learning algorithms. But unlike other supervised learning algorithms, decision trees can be used for solving classification and regression problems. Now, classification problems. Classification is the most familiar and the most popular data mining technique. Classification applications include image and pattern recognition, loan approval, detecting faults in industrial applications, and some projects we do in our college, like parking systems, or or many such things like recognizing a car in a traffic, or recognizing some human patterns for traffic analyzations. All approaches to performing a classification assume some knowledge of the data. Training set is used to develop specific parameters required by the technique. Decision tree. Decision tree is where the root and each internal node is labeled with a question. The arcs represent each possible answer to the associated question, and each leaf node represents a prediction of a solution to the problem. The popular technique is that leaf node indicates class to which the corresponding node is. Let's see an example here. We have at the top we have gender. Now we encounter two things, male or female. We have a question and the answer, for example, let's give it to male. If it's male, it will go to right. If it's female, it will go to. Let's say it's male. Now we have another thing, height. Is it less than 1.5? Is it between 1.5 and 2? Or is it greater than? Then according to that, we will have our assumptions, or we can say we will have our answers to short, medium, and long. This is how at different levels, at different nodes, we encounter questions. And from that questions, we get the answers to our problem. We get the classes to which it belongs, it can belongs, or it will belongs based on the data we use to train the sets. The goal of using a decision tree is to create a training model that can use to predict the class or value of the target variable by learning simple decision trees input from prior. We have to use a training data. With that training data, our decision tree or our algorithm trains itself for the values we will get. In decision trees for predicting a class label for a record, we start from the root of the tree at the very top, like in our example which we used, gender. We compare the values of the root attribute with the records attribute. And on the basis of comparison, we follow the branch corresponding to that value and jump to the next. Like we used in this example, gender. On the basis of that, we reached height. And after that, on the basis of our answers, we reached a conclusion of that short, medium, or term. Now, types of decision trees. Types of decision trees are based on the target variable. So what type of target variable we are encountering, on that we will decide which type of decision tree we will use. A categorical variable decision tree. In this decision tree which has a categorical target variable, it is called target categorical variable decision tree. And if the decision tree has a continuous target variable, then it is called a continuous variable decision tree. Now, these are some important terminologies related to decision trees. Now, root node. Root node is simply that it represents the entire population of sample, and then this further gets divided into two or more homogeneous sets. Like in our example, we use gender. Now, of any height, it will belong to these two genders, male or female. Now, in this splitting, splitting is a process of dividing into two or more subnodes. A decision node, where a subnode splits into further subnodes, then it is called a decision. Leaf or terminal node. Nodes do not split is called a leaf or terminal. So the nodes which do not split further are called the leaf or terminal. Pruning. Pruning is basically the opposite of splitting. It is when we remove the subnodes of a decision tree, and this is the process we call branch or a subtree. A subsection of the entire tree is called a branch or a subtree. A parent and a child node. A node which is divided into subnodes is called a parent node of subnodes. Various subnodes are the child of a parent. For example, we had height, then we have short, medium, and tall. So height will be the parent, and short, medium, or tall will be the child nodes. Decision tree model is a computational model consisting of three parts: a decision tree, algorithm to create the tree, an algorithm that applies the tree to the data. Creation of the tree is a difficult part, and processing is basically a search similar to that in a binary search tree. Because once we have created the tree, the processing is simple. Once we have wrote the algorithm that the gender will be male or female, the height will be divided in three, 1.52 or between them, then we have selected a group of questions and the answers to them is basically classifying or subjecting them to each of the answers we have already portioned in our training. Now, a decision tree algorithm. Here is something I found it's basically a short note of the algorithm. In this input, we have a decision tree, an input database, and in the output, we will get the model prediction. So let's see. So for each tree belonging to the database, for so the each tree we set or we use on the database, if n is the root node of the tree, then while n is not leaf node, we have to regularly obtain answer to questions on n, apply t, and identify arc from tree which contains correct answers. N equals to node at end of this arc. And from this repeated process until we have that n is a leaf node. So that means the lower portion in our example that was short, medium, or tall. We have to make predictions for t based on the labeling of n. Like in our example, if we have there were three: short, medium, and tall. Now algorithm is the basically the approach is most useful in the classification problem, the decision tree approach. With this technique, a tree is constructed to model the classification process. And once the tree is built, it is applied to each tuple in the database and results in a classification for that. There are basically two steps: building the tree and applying the tree to the database. Now, these are some assumptions we assume while creating the decision tree. In the beginning, the whole training set is considered as the like that we saw in our example. We apply the whole data set on each different levels until we reach the final. So in the beginning, the whole training set is considered as the root. Feature values are preferred to be categorical. If the values are continuous, then they are discretized prior to the building. Records are distributed recursively on the basis of attributed values. And in order to placing attributes as root or internal node of the tree is done by using some statistical approach. These are some advantages and disadvantages of decision trees. Advantages is that it is very easy to understand and it's easy to generate rules also, as we are doing it in a step-by-step process by simplifying each question or each classification. Disadvantages: it may suffer from overfitting. For example, there are not many classes or the data cannot be classified into too many levels or too many nodes, then overfitting can happen. Classifies by rectangular partitioning and does not easily handle non-numeric data. Can be quite large, tuning is necessary. Yeah, non-numeric data. It cannot easily handle non-numeric data because the classes which we are making, it's either this or that. We have something like, for example, some complex things. Like, eh, yes, in a chat box. In a chat box, if there is a complex question which is not inserted in it or which cannot be classified in any of the questions above, then it will be a problem. So this was decision trees, and thank you.